statements for the Daily Media. Question number 2, the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he expect all his ministers to comply with the responsibilities set out in the Cabinet Manual?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, ministers are expected to comply with the guidance set out in the Cabinet Manual and to seek advice from the Secretary of the Cabinet as necessary.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did he ask Nick Smith to resign, and if not, why not?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no. The Minister offered his resignation and I accepted his resignation because, as the Minister said himself, he exercised poor judgment in supporting an ACC claimant while ACC Minister.
The Leader of the Opposition.
When did he first become aware of Nick Smith having written inappropriate letters on behalf of his friend Bronwyn Puller?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, the first letter, the reference, I was made aware of on Monday evening, and the second letter, the one that the Minister made reference to in the House today, was back to another former Member of Parliament. I was made aware of that this morning.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
When did the Prime Minister know, or those in his office know, of Ms Puller's frustration with ACC, that she was pressing his minister for help, and that Dr Smith had told Ms Puller that his helping would be inappropriate? When did he first learn of that?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I'm not in a position to answer that question. I simply don't know. I know the claimant, and in my early days as a Member of Parliament, I was aware right back then she was frustrated with ACC. I understand she spent significant correspondence to ACC over the years, but I'm not in a position to know when the Minister was first made aware. You'd need to put that question to the ACC office.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he still stand by his statement yesterday, quote, "If you are going to sack ministers for what I think would be what people would accept as an error of judgment but not a terribly significant one, you'd be sacking a lot of ministers"?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, and that was because in relation to the first error of judgment where the Minister wrote a reference for the claimant, while I consider that to be unwise and while I consider that to be an error in judgment, I didn't consider it on balance in relation to everything else the Minister had done to be a sacking offence.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Will the Prime Minister cause to be released the long trail of emails and correspondence between Dr Smith and Ms Puller? If not, why not?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I think the Minister has made it clear that he's prepared to release those particular four. Any other correspondence, the member, if he wants it, he should ask for it under the Official Information Act.
The Leader of the Opposition.
Mr Speaker, does he still believe, in light of today's events, that this is an error of judgment but not a terribly significant one?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I consider the first instance to be exactly that. I consider the second to be one too many.
Kevin Haig.
Mr Speaker, does the Prime Minister stand by the repeated assurances given in this House yesterday by the Minister for ACC, Judith Collins, that the matters concerning Dr Smith's conduct will be covered by the Privacy Commissioner's investigation, given that it is now clear that those matters fall well outside the powers and functions of the Privacy Commissioner?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I think the member is at the risk of paraphrasing the Minister, but anyway, if the member is asking a question whether there will be any further inquiry, I haven't seen any information that would indicate to me a further inquiry is necessary. There is inquiries that will be undertaken by the police and the Privacy Commissioner, but I don't see the need for any further inquiry.
Question number 3, Jonathan Young.